Good afternoon, Atlanta. Welcome to Veterans Day. I am Herman Anderson, along with my co-host, Anthony Aiken. We have a guest today, the Honorable Chairman Jeffrey Turner, Chairman of the Board of Commissioners of Clayton County, Georgia. As soon as I finish this introduction information and the pre, the introduction and information I need to give you about the radio and our group, we will get it into the meat of this discussion. We are the Worldwide Community Empowerment Group. We speak live in the community. You can watch this today through WCEG Network, WCEG Talk Radio. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter and Instagram. And the disclaimer is the topic and opinion are those of the show hosts and guests, not WCEG Network. WCEG Networks is a nonprofit organization, and I have an office number of 404-490-8646. 404-490-8646. Thank you, and good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Herman. How are you doing? First of all, Happy New Year. As you know, I was battling some health concerns at the beginning of 2023 and was not able to be on the initial show for the year, but the good Lord has gotten me back on the mend. And I want to say that it's a good feeling. And I want to say Happy New Year to you and to all of our listeners worldwide, being part of the WCEG Network. It's so good to be back, to see you and to see and talk with Miss Vivian and our founder, Miss Penny Rogers. So it's just a blessing, my friend. Very good to see you again.
Well, thank you. And now we're going to move on to our guest, Chairman Jeffrey Turner. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Will you give us some brief information about yourself as much as you would like to? Then we'll get into the meat of what you do and how you help veterans and go from there.
Absolutely. And good afternoon to you both. And thank you so much for inviting me to be on the show this afternoon. It really means a lot to me. Anybody who knows me knows how much I revere and appreciate our veterans. It's truly because of our veterans that we are the greatest country in the world and that we have what we have. And it's a shame that over the years, as our veterans came back from war or just from a service, that America hasn't always loved our veterans the way they need to be loved. So it's always incumbent upon me to make sure that whatever I do, wherever I go, I always give my appreciation for our veterans and try to do as much as I can. And by being the chairman of Clayton County, it's afforded me an opportunity to do just that. And that is to always appreciate our veterans, to work with them, and to try to make sure that we are providing resources here in Clayton County that's the absolute best for our veterans. And now I'm not a veteran myself, but my father is a 30-year veteran of the U.S. Army. Very proud of him. He actually joined the Army here at Fort Mac and did a 30-year stint and retired at Fort Mac Ferguson in the city of Atlanta. So I am very much indebted to our veterans. I love being able to help and support the cause and to do everything that I can. Now, I've been chairman here for 10 years, but before that, I was with the police department for 23 years, all here in Clayton County. I was able to rise to the chief of police position after 20 years. I did a total of 23 years with the Clayton County Police Department. So it's paramilitary organization. So I know about rank and structure and being regimented. And trust me, when I say after 30 years of being with my father, he taught me how to be regimented and to be respectful. You know, sometimes we look at what's going on in our society today. And I really, really wish that a lot of our young people would go to the military so they can get some of that regimented spirit, as well as being able to learn about respect, duty, honor, and how to basically get things done the right way. Again, I can't give enough support and love for our men and women in the U.S. Armed Forces. And again, let me say thank you for having me on the show this afternoon.
I tell you what, man, you had me doing a little flashback, with your dialogue there, because I totally agree with you in regards to our young men and women having the opportunity to serve. You take a look at some of the foreign countries, women serve in the military and all the young men serve in the military. And what they found with that, it provides some discipline, sense of direction. It gives that person the opportunity to find out who they really are, because you're pushed to the limit. So, when you were talking that, I was like at Fort Bragg at age 20, running through the woods in the mud and climbing over walls and everything like that to get prepared for Vietnam. Because one day, if the war had not ended, I was going to be on the soil, in Vietnam as a young 22-year-old officer leading troops. So, I strongly believe in that esprit de corps. I strongly believe in the discipline. I strongly believe in, as we call it, rules of engagement to get things done, and was able to transfer that over, just like your father did, and now to you, to lead an organization, because it gives you some direction. So I salute you and your father for what you do, and glad that you're on our show today.
Well,
Go ahead.
I want to just vouch for what you said about helping veterans. My organization, Veteran Helping Veteran, as you know, we have been, over 10 years, we have been meeting and operating in Clayton County. And I believe you almost been with us for the whole, at least 8 years. And I know from experience that you support veterans and their family, you support the community, and you always, whenever my organization and other veteran organizations ask, you are available. So I want to thank you for that. And
Let me ask you this, Herman. Do you know what is the military population in Clayton County veterans? Do you have any idea?
I don't know the specific number or percentage, but it is high. I was told at one time before that Clayton County has the highest percentage of veterans in the metro Atlanta area. And I truly, excuse me, and I truly believe that we are better off as a county because we have so many veterans in our community.
And the reason I was asking, because of services that your particular county, being the chairman of the board there, services that they can provide to veterans, especially those that may be homeless, those that may have some mental challenges, those that will require the use of a veterans court in the event that they need some legal support for whatever situation they're in, and even counseling, family counseling for housing, especially, that's a big issue. So those are 4 hot buttons. Are your constituents aware, and does Clayton County have mechanisms in place for those types of individuals?
That's a very excellent question. Absolutely. Again, I would never want to talk about being helpful and providing resources if we didn't actually do it. We can't talk about it, we need to be about it. And I truly believe that Clayton County is being about trying to take care of our veterans in the best way possible. So through our Senior Services Department, we know that mental health and wellness, physical wellness is very important, especially for our veterans.
Yes.
So through our Senior Services Department, as well as through our recreational centers, we have discounts for our veterans. And through our Senior Services Department, we also have discounts for their lunch and breakfast. Then we talk about the Armed Forces Senior Veterans Group. That's an organization within our Senior Services Department that provides resources such as help for veterans who might have difficulties with home repairs and so forth. We also make sure that they have resources to go or places to direct them to for mental evaluations, for help with whatever needs that they have. So that's an organization within the Senior Services Department. Basically, it's support services that they can tap into. So whenever they need help. And if we can't help you directly, then we definitely have the knowledge and information where to direct them to go for that help. And let me just give you that website to go to, that, and the phone number that our veterans can call to actually look or seek help in that area. So it's www.claytonseniors, all one word, claytonseniors.com. Phone number for the Senior Services Department is 770-347-0150. And we also provide some additional resources and services through our aging program. So those are some resources in Clayton County that we can ask people to tap into. But we also have a veterans board. This board of commissioners created a veterans board to help look at veteran affairs and how we can connect better with our community, our veterans community, through this board. Of course, it's made up of all veterans, and they do a great job here in Clayton County, making sure that they are an active and vital part of our community. Of course.
I like it. I like it.
And Anthony, let me speak for Clayton County. We talk about Veterans Court. Clayton County does have a veteran court, and members of my organization work with the veteran court. I believe the judge that manages that court is Judge Mack, and he was the speaker at our Veterans Day program this year in Clayton County.
Yeah, you stole my.
Good to know. That's good to know.
My thunder. I was getting to it. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Helping Veterans is another great organization. You know, we our nonprofits that's in Clayton County are great. Appreciate the services that they provide in every respect. But the Veterans Helping Veterans has been a great organization and a great gem here in Clayton County, doing what they do year round. Even to the point where I saw the value in that what they were doing, that a couple of years ago through my Chairman Turner's International Ball, they were the recipients of the funds that I collected, and 100% after we paid our overhead went to that organization for the work that they're doing. And you know, it's just a drop in the bucket, but every dime that can be afforded to them and given to them goes for a very worthy cause, and that's to make sure that we are taking care of our veterans.
That is absolutely outstanding, because I just read an article this morning, maybe it was last night, about how the VA is still trying to speed up the process for veterans to receive compensations for, you know, their time and services. And Herman can attest to it like I can. Sometimes it takes 2 years before a decision can be made. And was even hurt more with pandemic, because of staff were dropping, staff were relocating, they weren't repositioning people to come back into those positions. So in a lot of instances, the veterans left out on the cold. So I'm very, very happy to hear about the initiatives, you know, and I definitely have the ClaytonCountySenior.com, ClaytonSeniors.com that I'm going to take a look at, and we can go and advocate that on the show, and hopefully other counties have a similar thing as Clayton County.
I hope.
And also, as the year, which I believe was 2021, that we were the nonprofit of the year, the amount that Chairman Turner's organization donated to Veteran Helping Veterans is a big part of our budget. And so we all thank you for doing that.
Most welcome, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
yeah. I was also looking at this, you said this Veteran Board for Veteran Affairs. How often do they meet? Do they meet at the Clayton County headquarters, public building? And is the public also involved with that particular board?
yes, the meetings are open, of course. There is a location. I think they had to change their location because the building where they were at has closed down. Well, they didn't close down, but they were moved out of there. So the county does not pay the rent over there anymore. So will meet at one of the county facilities. But yes, they meet about once a month or whenever else is needed. And they are a board of veterans that are selected from the Board of Commissioners. Each Board of Commissioner has a selection.
Correct.
And I want to make sure that every district throughout the county as a whole is represented on this board.
Yeah, I sit on a similar board for Fulton County. It's called the Commission on Veteran Affairs for Fulton County. And each one of the commissioners in Fulton County appoints a person to serve anywhere from 3 to 5 years with the same focus of addressing veterans. You know, it's so important because Herman brings out a point a couple of years back that you realize that only 1% of this nation's population protects this nation through the armed services. That's an unbelievable number.
Only 1%. Huh? Wow.
One.
That puts some light on it. That's a perspective that a lot of people really don't understand.
Right. So you understand the value of supporting a veteran when that veteran retires for whatever reason, but because that veteran was only part of 1% for the entire nation. That's an astronomical number.
Well, and that's why I mentioned it. That's why I brought it up, is because dealing with veterans issues, and as you say, Clayton County and Metro Atlanta has a very high percentage of veterans because of all the military in Georgia. And when you go in, you're young, you're in good shape. And then when we come out, you know, we all beat up, broken up.
Yeah,
and
you got some miles on.
And the VA is, you got a backlog on everything at the VA. I'm just stating this. I know you do everything you can to work with us, but that's just a fact that we push on this program.
Yeah, we do. And does Clayton, we're coming up on, you know, another celebration next month. And Herman and I were talking about this a little earlier, talking about Black History Month or whatever you call it, but it should be Black History Month every year to year, not just one particular month. But will there be any highlighting of veterans during that particular month, February, by Clayton County?
Well, now that you said that, you know, I think in the past we have somewhat overlooked that. Certain organizations definitely showcase some veterans, but us as a county, although we participate in that, I don't think that we have really done enough to showcase that, to make that a point on our own. So,
Mr. Chairman, I don't see a pen and paper in your hand to make that a note at your next commission meeting that we're going to get this one done.
Point that, hey, we're not free one day out the year. We're free every day.
Every day.
Veterans Day.
Every day.
Contributions by African Americans that over the years that have made us and placed us in a position we are in today should be celebrated every day as well. And you know, that's another point, that travesty or that ridiculous governor in Florida who thinks that African American studies shouldn't be taught in school. That is appalling to me.
Now, what does that sound like to you? That sounds just like, let's eliminate the history of the people so they don't know anything about their history, their heritage. Now, and that's coming from someone himself who is of Latino background.
Yes.
And somehow, maybe he ate too many oranges. I don't know, in Florida. Something happened. But how in the world can you come up with something so obnoxious to try and eliminate the history of an entire generation of people by taking it away from the curriculum? And then you got the others thinking about the critical race theory. I have not read that in entirety. My queen has done that, and I'm looking forward to reading that. But there's so many things on that spear of our head that we're dealing with from an environmental standpoint, the Santoses, the Trumps, the Congress, and the fiasco of 15 votes to get someone to be the speaker.
Yeah.
Well, I think
It's crazy.
I deal with veterans, other counties and other organizations, and I can speak that Clayton County is more friendly to veterans. Clayton County does more to listen to veterans and help veterans than some other counties in Metro Atlanta. So I just want to keep it going, Chairman.
Well, I appreciate that definitely, because as long as I'm chairman, and I'm sure others have the same sentiment, but I can speak for myself when I say as long as I'm chairman, as long as I'm part of this community, I don't even have to be chairman. I'm always going to be supportive of our veterans. Always.
All gave some gave all.
You go.
That's real.
Yep.
Freedom is not free. Someone paid a price.
And
someone's a veteran, male or female, that
And
have served.
I think, Anthony and Chairman, now that we over the pandemic and it's there's more opportunities to communicate in person and do outreach events where you have the veterans, you have veteran families, and there's more opportunity to get the word out. It's what's available, and Anthony, as
Yep.
a program,
Yeah.
big thing to a big obstacle to a lot of our veterans is they really don't know what's available. They don't know. They're not good channels to make them aware of it. And so those are some opportunities I think now that we move into a new normal that we can address in Clayton counties and all counties.
Chairman Turner, you hold a very key and vital position in the county. You're basically the spokesman for the people as a result of the other commissioners being on part of that board. So I salute you in that, but also present you the challenge of ensuring that veterans are never forgotten in Clayton County.
And
never forgotten.
I accept that wholeheartedly and will not do my best, but I will make sure that as long as I draw breath, that I make sure that veterans are honored and respected in Clayton County the way they should be. Not only in Clayton County, but around this country. Again,
Right.
They place their life on the line to ensure that we remain free and the greatest country in the world. We owe them, all veterans, a debt that we will never be able to repay. So it's appalling to me to know that you seek services, you seek help, and mental illness is a real thing. PTSD is a real thing. A lot of homeless people are veterans. If you served this country, fought for this country, we shouldn't have homelessness in this great country in the first place, but especially not amongst our veterans. So that's something as a country we have to do better, and that is take care of those who have taken care of us over the years.
Absolutely.
And let me say one more thing, because Herman triggered something, a memory, and that's about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had an event called Vet Connect, and it was put on by our Senior Services Department. And we held it at the Intergenerational Center off of Flint River Road in Jonesboro, where we invited all veterans, and we had a program for them, had lunch for them, and then had guest speakers that came in and spoke about services that are provided through the VA, as well as some of the other veteran organizations around the Metro Atlanta area. And that wasn't the first time it was the first time, but not the last time, because we're going to continue to roll that out.
Yeah, and I know as we roll it out and the participation grows, it will get better every year. So
Absolutely. And it was well attended a couple of weeks back. So as it continues to grow, hopefully we'll just have to get a real large venue that's going to hold everybody, because the more.
I don't know what happened here. My phone's off. I apologize.
Where's your watch?
I did. I did.
So, Chairman Turner, I don't know how much more time you got left with us, but if you would like to summarize and give us your thoughts going future, I would appreciate it.
And again, let me start off by saying I appreciate the invite this afternoon. It's always good to be able to talk about our veterans and how much we appreciate them and all that we look forward to doing with you, as well as what we can do for you in the future. We have a number of events that's coming up, and we're going to try to do something different now that has been brought to light for next month, Black History Month. It's important that we recognize not only our veterans, but all the other contributions of other African Americans. And we're talking about the situation in Florida, but when you look at it, what better way to erase a race of people other than by taking their history away? If you take the history away and there's nobody to teach it or tell it, then we have a tendency to forget. And when
you know what? It's kind of ironic if you think about some of the other major campaigns. Hitler in World War II, Bosnia, all those places, they attacked the school systems and the libraries.
Yep.
To wipe out the history of the people that are oppressed, so they wouldn't have anything to think about or even remember. Just annihilate their history, and you can control them. Wrong answer.
Absolutely. Agree wholeheartedly. So we got to make sure that our young people know our history and to know that violence isn't the way. We need to put the guns down. We need to make our young men and women realize that they come from kings and queens, descendants of people who have had something in their life, who relishes life. Life is precious. You only get one life. And for you, my 23 years of law enforcement, I saw, not like being in war now, but I saw young men and women in the streets gunning each other down, taking one another's life over nonsense, foolishness.
Nonsense.
That has to stop.
No.
And we as elders need to mentor. We need to talk to our young people, encourage them. I would encourage them, even though I didn't go to the military, I would encourage them to go to the military. You know, I had the opportunity to go to Israel. And one thing I learned about people over there is they have a standing army, because everybody in Israel has to, when you turn 18, go to the military for 2 years automatically. And then their schooling is free. And I think their health care is free as well. But you have a standing army. The whole country, they have never, to my recollection, asked for any boots on the ground to help them. They asked for aid and military supplies and tanks and whatnot, but they never asked for boots on the ground to help defend them, because they have a country of ready people. So I say all that to say the military, again, can give somebody a regimented behavior, let them understand the meaning of being respectful, about caring for your brother man. Because when you're standing next to somebody and you're fighting with them, whether it's a foxhole or on the streets as a police officer, you gain a level of respect for that person. That protective mode kicks in. And we all try to take care of each other at that point. That should be the mentality just in human life, human decency, the humanity of why we are here as a people, that God created us to love one another as he loved us. And that's the philosophy that I try to live by. That's the philosophy I try to teach. And at the end of the day, we have to make life better
Yes.
for not only ourselves, but our neighbors and our families and our children and our children's children. And for me, that's where the rubber meets the road. So again, I have the opportunity to come on the show to talk about these matters and to know that I'm here anytime, as Mr. Anderson said, anytime he calls, I'm coming.
So can you give us your contact information, email address, anything like that for our listeners?
Absolutely. Email address is Jeff, Jeff, .Turner, TURNER, at Clayton County, GA. That's one word. Clayton, CLAYTON COUNTY, GA.gov, GOV. Clayton County, GA.gov. Contact number is 770-472-8122.
Thank you.
And then again, if there's anything I can do for any of our veterans, especially here in Clayton County, then please call me, email me, send me. If you have a question, feel free to email me that question. And if I don't have an answer for you, I will direct your question to the person who will have the answer for you.
Well, thank you very much. When I'm dealing with you, I know when to close it. You do better than I do. So thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Good to meet you, sir.
Likewise. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yep.
Herman, great guest.
Yes.
It was
So
a great guest.
yeah, he is, and he does a lot for Clayton County veterans. So I think he's one of the public service personnel that actually listen to the constituents. So I think he does a great job.
Yeah, he did. Well, as we said a little earlier when talking to Mr. Turner, even though nationally we talk about the 1st of February to the 28th of February being Black History Month, but we all agree it should be a month every day of the year. But as we move into that National Recognition Day on the month, we could be able to highlight some of the significant events that our ancestors and others have done. But also, too, it's the American Heart Association Heart Care Month. And remember, we had Dr. William Cooper on to talk about the importance of making sure you had cardiovascular health care. And then I'm going to reach out to him again, Herman, to see if he can come on, because he's a veteran, a colonel, medical corps physician, a cardiologist, to come back on and talk about healthcare issues specifically for cardiac health for veterans. Well,
that's very important, because a big disability for everybody, but particularly for veterans, is heart disease. That's Vietnam era veterans. Agent Orange is a possibility that Agent Orange contribute to heart disease.
Yeah. And then too, Herman, there are a couple of other things I think of importance, as you know, and the WCEG Network family know, that we've had some health challenges at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And we really want to talk about the importance of good health and making sure that you take care of each other, not only resting, but eating. I know for a fact I don't rest. Unfortunately, that's something that's been plaguing me for a number of years since I retired. I don't sleep enough. But making sure that you have the right diet, the right amount of exercise, and to get some rest, drink a lot of water, and try to ensure that you improve your health, because we're seeing men and women that are leaving us in their 50s, because they're not taking care of themselves and eating the right combinations of foods, drinking too many sodas that's going to affect the liver, drinking excessively to the point that they're killing themselves. So I think we need to really hop in on not only good heart health, but just overall good health so they can prolong their lives and their families.
Well, I think, on our program, we can approach it by trying to schedule different specialties that has expertise on mental health, on eating right, dealing with is there's a litany of mental issues. And I think last year we had a couple of people that dealt with mental health, and there are specialists out there that we can have on the program.
I agree. It's just so important because I like the phrase, we speak truth into the community. State of Georgia has, millions, thousands of veterans. We have a big voting bloc. We're involved with a lot of key things, but we also have a lot of veterans who are suffering from all types of illnesses as a result of their service in the defense of this nation. So we want to make sure that the largest healthcare system in the United States, that's being the veteran system of the Veterans Administration, that they become accessible to those veterans and their families that need them in their time of need. We shouldn't have these 25 to 30 suicides per day of veterans taking their life, of some because they're upset because they're not getting the treatment they need, or their benefit packages are approved for them to get compensation so their families. So as long as we're, on this show, we need to continue, and I know you agree with me, being advocates for the veterans.
Well, we do, and in my opinion, particularly, I don't want to beat the VA up, but they need to improve. For an example, the new clinic they opened in Marietta, I was up there this week, and it's not functioning. I went up there to a primary doctor here, and I get there and they tell me the doctor didn't show up that day.
Yeah.
So it's issues, and that is not just one issue, but it's issues like that in the system. It's as we talked about the culture of the system, and it's hard to change it immediately, but it's changing it gradually doesn't seem to be working either. We have to keep working on it.
All the time. It's something you got to continuously do. You can't get lax. You can never get lax on it. And we don't beat up the VA. We just tell the truth about the VA. And most of our listeners don't know, or maybe they do know, that each VA hospital in the United States receives a rating. And you need to go online and see if your particular VA in your particular area has a good rating. And if not, you need to find out why. Because again, that's the largest healthcare system in the United States. So if you see a VA with a rating of one, you need to do a 3-letter word, run. Or you need to turn it around and become an advocate.
Also, Anthony, to veterans, and a lot of veterans in their family, a big percentage, I don't know what, the VA system is their Medicare medical system for everything.
Yeah, yes.
And when you when it's not functioning properly, you got to wait 2 or 3 months just to see a doctor. That's not right. And there are other issues too that it just didn't start, but it's issues that we have to stay focused on and advocate.
I agree with you on that, man. So, but one thing, Herman, we still got to let our listeners know to persevere, because
no doubt
because this one phrase that we make could help. I know you've had personal instances, and I have too, where people have heard us on the show and followed through on some of the suggestions and get things done. Last year, we had one female listener, the call after the show. She didn't want to say it on the show, but for years she was hiding the fact that she was sexually assaulted on active duty and was afraid to move forward because of possible punitive retaliation. So she got out of the military, but it scarred her to the point that her personal life was challenged because of this incident in the military. But she heard on our show the importance of seeking help and the importance of going through the system to see if you can get your ratings and benefits for the trauma that you've experienced. And I'm here to tell you today on this, this beautiful day here in the year of 2023, that she followed through and was able to get the help that she needed. And not only that, a whole lot of money coming to her as a result of this misdiagnosis or non-treatment of her trauma.
Well, that's true. And if I remember correctly, last year we had at least 2 people that got that disability. We had them on the show, and the reason they got it was because you were in their ear. So we are making progress. And
we are making progress.
One step at a time. But
one step at a time. Again, you got to persevere. You got to see it through. You got to, be a bridge builder. You got to uplift. You got to educate. We got to motivate. We got to do all those 8s to get people to go out there and do the thing that they need to do. It took me 2 years to get my compensation that I earned. Notice the word, Herman, earned.
Yeah.
Wasn't given, it was earned. So for all those times that, you're in the field, I was in the field, things that we had to do away from our families, cold weather, hot weather, chilly weather, wet weather, you name it, we did it. And I stood on the shoulders of my uncles and cousins that are before me to do what we needed to do to keep our borders free. You know what I mean? I'm not shameless to say that I enjoyed it.
But that is correct. And also, as we have been on the air these years, we always emphasize starting the claim, DD 214. I have some of the information today, but our previous show, we had Vita Brooks on from Georgia Department of Veterans Service, and she did a super job of just stepping everybody through everything you need to do to file a claim. We have that on the archives and I'll be on YouTube, and it was January the 13th, I believe, was when we did that program, and that's really after we did that, that really gets you started, because I asked her to start with someone that hadn't filed a claim, and she did that. She also talked about the PAC Act, Camp Lejeune, and all those issues.
Oh yeah,
dealing with if you're in the system, how do you navigate it? If you're not in the system, you need to get in it.
So you got to get educated to get into the system, and that leads into a point that we've always been an advocate of, that you would need an organization like one of the veteran service organizations out there that can provide the support you need to get you through the maze of paperwork and processes through the VA system, which provides you your compensation. Don't be a knucklehead and don't follow through, because this, again, we said this is money that you've earned for the services that you've rendered to protect the borders of this country.
And just let me add to that, the PAC Act. The PAC Act really created opportunities for veterans that already have claims in, but they added at least two more possibilities that you may be able to receive compensation for. And so if you have, and there are quite a few articles on it. CBS News just sent one out yesterday, and actually you mentioned the VFW quarterly magazine.
Correct.
There are documentation on how, if you click on the link, it would tell you step by step how to, if you have a claim in, how to add to your claim. If you don't have one in, then you need to start at step one and put one in. So those are
Right. There's a lot of tools out here, Herman. There are a lot of tools. VFW, DAV, Purple Hearters,
American
you
Legion.
name it. American Legion. There are a lot of organizations out there that are willing to provide you support for free services. Because a veteran service organization is a third-party entity that does not work for the VA. They're your advocate. They're the ones that will fight for you to ensure that your paperwork is documented, received, and worked on. And I know I can tell you in the past 3 or 4 years during the show prior to pandemic, we would see people getting those services because they took the time to go through the process.
Exactly.
It took the time to go through the process. So if someone says, oh, I don't want to go through that because I might be taking benefits from somebody else, then you need to just smack them side the head. I'm sorry, I'm on a radio show. You should gently converse with them to say that, you need to really do what you need to do, not only for yourself, but for your loved ones to leave a legacy.
That is correct. And no, it's amazing that and weird all the time. People feel like if they file for compensation and get it, they're taking it from someone else.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
No.
And also, as you say, hopefully, now that we're dealing with the new normal, people will be able to communicate differently. I mean, there are some people, particularly people our age, they would rather do stuff in person than over the Zoom. And
Correct.
And I was in a meeting yesterday with all Vietnam veterans, so that means they were all older than you, Anthony. They were all my age.
Man, I'm still a baby. Look at the beautiful white hair. Yeah.
So, most of us, some of us are tech savvy, but really that website at the VA, nobody wants to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that says you need a VSO. And,
you need a VSO.
Veteran
Service Organization, Veteran Service Officer. And let me tell you something. Herman, I need to bring you up to date and our listeners, and in a lot of cases when you submit paperwork for some benefit, 85% of the time it's denied. It's denied because one individual is just following a format of questions, but not talking to the veteran for the in-depth detail. And I can tell you that because 2 years, almost 4 years now, we applied for aid and assistance for attendance for my family. I haven't driven a car since 2013. I walk with a cane. I need a lot of help.
Right.
We were denied. So now we have to go back through that process to find out what's the reason for denial. And in most cases, I saw a lot of things in there that stated, not annotating your medical records, not annotating your medical records. Well, in some cases, it can't be analyzed in your medical records. It has to be some type of a pre-assumed situation, almost like someone in Vietnam that you served in Vietnam, you were considered acceptable to certain diseases.
Right.
Presumptive diseases, as they call it. So they don't need to be cut and dry because there are certain things that I could never do again, as much as I try. I can't do it. And I'm sure there are veterans out there in a similar situation. Life changed. And they need a caregiver or they need someone to take care of you. And I tell you what, I salute every caregiver in the world because that is not an easy job.
I totally
Taking care
agree.
of veterans or taking care of someone. I know I salute my queen 150% because I know it presents challenges to her, taking care of someone like me and taking care of others, taking care of other family members, and they don't have time to get away to recharge or do whatever. So it's, to me, oh my gosh, I salute them every day. I salute them every day.
I totally agree because you have the other, there's a lot of cancer survivors. But
Yes,
people that take care of those, that
yes,
I mean, all caregivers, I agree with you.
yes.
And
Totally.
some of it just because we get to the age that we need caregivers. So it's I work with AARP on that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's the other thing is making sure that you have your DD Form 214, Herman.
I know that's the first thing that Vita brought up last.
That's a hot button. And some veterans don't even know where it is. They can't find it. But there's a source out there through the Department of Veteran Affairs or through the Georgia State Office of Veteran Affairs, and all the other states have a similar type organizational structure that you make sure that you have a copy of DD 214 to the point that you can have it on your iPhone like I do.
But that is true, and that was one I was discussing yesterday. The most convenient to get a copy of it, and the Georgia Department of Veteran Affairs is in Georgia and in all states. That's a good option from what Vita said, and I know that when we used to deal with Morocco.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's then you get the archives, and actually there are what I'm told, you can go on the VA website and request it also. I haven't tried to do that, but I understand it's not used.
Well, get your health in order. Next thing, get your financial health in order. And make sure you put those two together in concert. And start putting all your important documents together because tomorrow's not guaranteed. So if you put these things together, and we've had a lady on the show a couple of years back to talk about making sure that you have your pertinent documents in one location in the event of your demise, that your family's not running around trying to find certain things, like your DD Form 214, a copy of your will, a copy of your trust, a copy of your living will, a copy of your living declaration for health directive, all of those things in one location, because the I guess you could say the emotions of the family members can be so high that they're not thinking about those particular documents. But if you do enough pre-planning and put things together in one location and let your family know about it, so when God says, son, you've done a great job, time for you to come home, your family has at least a baseline of things they need to do and where they need to go to get them done.
But you always bring it up at the right time. Because
I can't hear you.
11 o'clock today, before we went on the air, I got a call from the widow. You wanted to.
Mr. Herman, you're muffled.
Yeah, you're muffled.
I said I got a call from a widow at 11 o'clock, and her issue was getting her husband buried up in Cherokee County.
Good.
She didn't have the paperwork, but I was able to help her. So get to the right contact. But it happens more than we don't want to talk about it, but it happens. Yeah,
it's something that you got to talk about, because it's very, 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 very important that you talk about these kind of things and to make sure that your family is aware of all actions, because if they don't have them in place, goodness gracious, what happens? You're already in a grieving scenario, but yet the things are not in order. So always saying that we speak truth into the nation, and we want to make sure that our listeners understand that with pre-planning, they can make things better for themselves and their family members.
Well, that's true. And we got about 4 more minutes. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, I just want to say that let's have a great 2023. Let's just
We're
move
off to
forward.
we're off to a great start.
Great start. And let's continue to put truth into the nation and bring on some great guests that could impart information of importance to our families and to veterans. And let's see if we can motivate more veterans to go and get the things that they've earned and get the help that they need. And let's reduce this homelessness. Let's reduce this situation where females are being assaulted in the military. Let's reduce the situation where individuals don't know where to go when they're having a mental breakdown or crises. We don't want to see these increased numbers in suicides because veterans don't know where to go.
That is true. And,
it's so important to do that. You know
and
what I mean?
as we wrap it up, as always, Anthony, I will give thanks to our big kahuna, CEO Penny Rogers. Thank Vivian, our producer. She does a great job of keeping us under control.
Listen, I couldn't do it without it. Could not do it without it. So that, that's why it makes it easy for us, you and I, to do the research that we need, to find the guests that we need, because we have a great support group in the back to keep us on straight and narrow. So Herman, again, first time for me this year. It was so good to see you, my friend, and enjoyed the show and look forward to the next one.
Well, thank you. I always enjoy working with you. I pray for your health, your family's health.
Thank you.
We'll do it again in 2 weeks.
See you then, my friend.
To everyone, have a good weekend. This is Veterans Day signing off. Have a good weekend. Thank you.